Let's get reaction now from some of the political leaders who have been listening to that address. John Steenhuisen, he is the interim leader of the Democratic Alliance, is joining us now on the line. John, good evening and thank you so much for your time tonight. The president allowing the personal care industry, the hotels, the casinos, the cinemas, the theaters, as well as sit-in restaurants to begin operating under these new regulations of lockdown level 3. What is your reaction immediately?
Well, the reaction is simply this. It's no longer lockdown level 3. The president now essentially ended the lockdown. If you are allowing people in cinemas and restaurants to go back, you're essentially saying that life can go back, apart from the health protocols that need to be put in place, as it was. Unfortunately, it's come too late, and a deep economic recession has been baked into the economy now by government's very hard and very long lockdown. And I think that the president's decision to keep the country in such a hard lockdown for over 100 days now has essentially put us onto the railroad of a very, very deep economic depression that's going to impact many, many more lives and livelihoods than the virus ever would have.
Do you think this decision was guided by scientists and experts at this particular point, or largely guided by the fact that government does not have relief funding to support those small businesses?
No, I don't think it's guided by science. I don't think they have been guided by science at all during the process. And if they had been listening to the scientists, they would have done what we agreed should have been done a number of weeks ago, which is to open up the economy far greater. That's certainly what their own scientists were telling them. Instead, they've kept the country into this baked into this hard lockdown crisis. And I think it's going to be very, very difficult for them to turn away from this. I think that frankly, it's come a little bit too late. And many of the businesses that have closed during this period are not going to be able to reopen. I think it also is the fact that government realized they were about to get massive turnarounds and court cases against them. The personal care industry, as you know, was going to be before the court on the 22nd. I think they realized that they were on a losing wicket and they couldn't justify keeping the personal care industry closed in the face of the DA's court case. And they're going to see many, many more of these, of the regulations that we've challenged falling by the wayside as the courts ruled against government. So obviously this is a face-saving mechanism to avoid the humiliation of having court judgments going against you. And unfortunately, it's had to take parties taking government to court to get them to see what was always obvious from the beginning, that there was no rational, reasonable reason to keep the personal care industry closed and many of these other industries closed during this period.
It's 100 days now into this fight. The president says what we have managed to achieve, when you look at the days it takes for the total number of cases to double, we are now sitting at 12 days, saying that shows that the lockdown to an extent did assist.
No, it didn't assist, and I think that the president needs to go back and have a look at his figures a little bit more carefully. The hard lockdown has actually not achieved anything near what it should have been used for, which is to dramatically increase the number of ICU beds. If you look at the number of ICU beds before and what is after, nowhere near that. If you look at some of the state of many of the provincial health systems, those have not been greatly enhanced at all. And whatever improvements that have been happened has been very, very marginal and certainly have come at a massive cost to the economic well-being and the lives and livelihoods of many, many South Africans are going to feel a long and extended period of pain through these decisions that have been made in the course of the last 100 days.
All right, interim leader of the Democratic Alliance, John Steenhuisen, I appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us tonight.